Hey guys, welcome back to my channel SAPWITHIK. So today's topic will be on the engineering change management. So in this topic we will discuss what is an engineering change master and what is the purpose of creating a change master and what all objects can be controlled by using a change master. So let's get started. So here the transactions that we basically use are CC01 to create a change master, CC02 to change it, and CC03 to display the change master. Right side you can see the transaction mode of this particular screen. So first I will walk you through the options that we have in the change master, and then we will proceed to create a change master and try to make some changes to a few of the master data objects such as the bill of material or the routing. So to display the change master, I'm using the transaction CC03. So here this is the change number that I have already created, and if we go into the details of it, we can see we have a valid from date of this change number and also the status of the change number, and the rest of these fields we will discuss as we move further into the creation process. So this particular change number, it basically will be assigned with a specific set of object types. So if we go into the details of this object types, we have this master data such as the bill of material, routing, reference operation set, inspection plan, general task list, equipment task list, master recipe, and so on. So all these objects are basically the master data where the user or the engineering team or probably the QA team can control the changes being made by a specific user onto this master data. So let's say without the change number, so let's say you have created a bill of material, right, by the QA team or the engineering team, and then one of the user has accidentally made some changes by going into the change mode of the bill of material, or maybe by changing its quantity, or maybe replacing an existing component. So that would create a huge impact on the production execution process, right? So that's the reason if we enable the change number into the bill of materials, routings, or the objects that are defined here, so those changes can be restricted by using this particular change number, and it can only be executed if we have a valid change number created by the engineering team or the QA team, right? So if we go into the creation of a bill of material in the transaction CS01, so here we do have this particular field for the change number. So without a value or maybe a valid change number being assigned here, the user cannot create or maybe modify an existing bill of material. So sometimes based on your system settings, you might not see this option. So for that, you can go to the SPRO or maybe the config T-code OS 25, where you can set that the BOMs created through this particular usage and this particular status one should have a history requirement enabled, right? And after that, you also can go to this configuration node OS 27, where you can modify the parameters for the bill of material at the global level. So this is not specific to a particular plant, but it will be impacted globally across the transaction. So here, as you can see, I have this field, the change number, right? But if I go to this particular configuration and disable this particular option, the EC management active, which means that EC stands for engineering change and then management active, and then I'm also going to disable the history requirements and then save this change. Sorry. And if I go back to the transaction of CS01, so here you can see that those particular fields have been disappeared. So now I'm going to enable these two options and save, and again come back. and rerun this transaction CS01, you can see that the change number field is enabled here, right? So now let's go back to this change number. So here, as you can see, we do have several options like active, activate, active and object management record and management record active, and then generate new, generate dialog, and then lock. So let's say if you would like to lock a specific bill of material by making any change using this particular change number, then you can use this option as locked. And if you would like to make the change number being active for this particular a bill of material, then you need to enable this object for the activation. Okay. And if I go back to the header screen, here we have the change number status, active and inactive. So which basically controls the activation of this particular change number so that the objects that were assigned to this change number can be regulated for any changes. So then now here we have assigned like what all object types are basically controlled by using this change number. But how does system know which object should be controlled by this? So then we go into this objects option, and here we are going to assign a specific routing or a bill of material. So here we have in this object tab, we can see the entire list of master data. So let's say the bill of material or the routing. And again, if we enable the object types as a bill of material, we will have a separate tab for the task list and as well as the bill of material where you can see those objects independently. Okay. So only these objects will be affected by this particular change number. So which means that if you want to make any changes to this routing, then you have to use only this particular change number, and no other change number can actually be used to make those changes. The same way you can also apply it for bill of materials, inspection plans, and so on. What all options you see here, everything can be controlled by using this particular change number. So let's try to create a change number. So here I am going to the transaction CC01, and here we have two functions without a release key and a with a release key. So I'm going to use this option with release key. And if you would like to have a specific profile that basically controls the assignment of objects automatically, then you can use that, or if not, you can just leave it as blank. Now hit on enter. So in the screen, you can assign the change number parameters. So let's say the description of the change number will be test for BOM and routing. And when is this change number valid from? This specific date. So I'm going to choose the date as today's date, 12th of August. So which means that any changes that you do to a master data using this particular change number will be valid from this particular date. Okay, so let's say you have created this change number on 12th of August, and then you're trying to make a change to the bill of material on the 15th of August using this particular change number. Then automatically the valid from date of that particular change in the bill of material will be assigned as 12/8/2026. And then if you would like to restrict the creation of the change master to a specific authorization group, you also can use that field over here. And then you have a reason for change. So the reason for change is for demo purpose. So anything that you would like to make it more descriptive for the users or the engineering team for understanding, you can enter that description. And then the change number status. So will that be an active change number or an inactive change number? So initially, since we are just creating it and I don't want to release it for any changes, I'm going to select the change number status as inactive. So once we enter these values, then hit on enter. Then we will be navigated to the object types screen where you can enable the activation for a bill of material and activation for a routing. And you also can assign that a specific object needs to be assigned in the change number for whatever options you are choosing here, which means that if I use this option for bill of material, I need to enter a bill of material in the object assignment. If not, it will not allow me to make that particular change. So now I'm going to assign this object assignment for bill of material and routing, so that I need to enter the number of the routing group number, so that this particular change number will only be applicable for that specific routing and bill of material. And then I'm also going to active these dialog boxes and the other options. So I'm not going to lock it. And if I go into the object, so here as you can see, the objects that we have assigned in the object types, they basically appear over here. So since this is a new change number, we have not assigned any objects. And then I'm going to save this. And now upon saving, you can see that this particular change number with the 5 series ending with 33 has been created. So now let's go into the change mode of the change master. So which basically calls the transaction CC02 and the change number has been updated. Now go inside the change number, and then we are going to assign the objects here. So I'll delete this. And FG1 1710 BOM usage 1, and then the task list type here will be as N for routings, and then I'm going to assign the group number. So what is the purpose that we see the task list group here, and why not a material has been provided in this particular tab for the task list? Why? Because so initially while creating the routing, you don't need to enter or maybe to provide a material code, right? We can create the routing directly by assigning a group number, and later after creating the group number, then you can assign the material into the material allocation option, right? So that's the reason the material was not provided in this particular section. So I have assigned a task list and a material BOM in this particular change number, and then I'm going to save it. Okay, now you can see that we see a warning message here. It means that you need to enter a change number. Why? Because the history requirements has been enabled for this BOM and the usage combination, like we enabled in the configuration node OS 25. So I need to assign a change number here. So the change number that we created here is 5 all zeros 33. Now hit on enter. As you can see that the change master status 02 does not allow changes. Why? Because the change number status 02 stands for the inactive mode of it, right? So let me exit from here and going back to the change number. So here it has been marked as inactive, which means that the user cannot make any changes using this particular change number if it has been inactive mode. The same way we will go to the routing, the task list as well. So let me put this in the display mode so that it won't be locked. So here in the objects tab, you can see all objects that were assigned to this change number. And also please be mindful that this object assignment or probably the assignment of the objects is not specific or maybe restricted to a specific material and a plant. So here you can assign this particular change number to multiple materials and plant combination. Okay. So now we'll go to CA02. And here I'm going to assign the change number. As you can see here, it is telling me that the material status 02 is not allowed to make any changes. So now I'll go back to this to the change mode. And now let's say I pretend to be the engineering department so that I can review the purpose of this particular change, where I can review this change number by looking at these objects. So I will understand based on the descriptions assigned by the provided by the user, saying that he would like to create or maybe modify this particular routing and this particular BOM using this change number. So let's go to the initial screen, and to make it possible, the engineering personnel should actually change the status to 1, which basically allows the user to make any changes using this change number. So to check these valid from date, I'm going to change the date from 12 to 15. So just for the demonstration purpose. So which means that this change, whatever I'm going to do on these objects, will be valid from 15th of August. I'm going to save it. So now let's go to CS02 using the change number. Before I hit on enter, you can see that the valid from date is showing as the current date. Now if I hit on enter, you can see that the valid from date is changed to 15th of August, which is basically derived from the change number. Now I hit on enter and I go into the details of this alternative BOM 1. And here, let's say I'm going to change the value of this particular component from 1 to, I'll make it as 2. And as you can see here, this particular change that I did is valid from 15th of August, and you also can see the change number that was assigned to this particular change. And then I'm going to save it. So now if I go into the display mode of this particular BOM, and I'm not going to enter the change number here, okay. Now hit on enter, again go to the alternative BOM 1. Now you can see that this is valid from the previous date, right? So you can notice that the change number is not yet updated over here. Instead, it will say that this particular quantity for this particular component is only valid from this date 25/6/2025 till August 15th 2026. Why? Because I have made a change on the quantity by using a particular change number. So if I go into the details of the bill of material using the change number, you can see that this particular change that I did by increasing the quantity is applicable or valid from the August 15th 2026 based on this particular change number. But if I go into the details of the BOM without using a change number, then it will show me the previous data that will be valid until the 15th of August. Okay, so this is the main purpose of creating a change number. So you can control the changes that are being done at a master data level. So let's say again I'll go to the change mode of the BOM using the change number, and I will go into the details of this, and probably I'll delete this particular component, item 40. Now it has been deleted, and then save. Now I'll go into the display mode of the BOM without the change number. Okay, alternative 1, you can see that we still have this component available here, item 40, and it is valid only till 15th of August 2026. Why? Because after and from 15th of August 2026, this component is no more available, will no more be available in the bill of material. So now I go to this with using the change number, go into the details, and now you can see that the item 40 does not exist. So now let's go into the change master, and here the engineering team would like to review what all changes were done using this particular change number. So they will go into the environment, change documents, and click on all documents. So here you can see the changes that were done by the user, and in which, I mean, in which what actions were basically performed using this particular change number will also be recorded in the change logs. So here you can see that the initial change that was done, and here you can see it in the ascending order. So the latest change that was done is this, where we have modified a specific bill of material. Right, FG1, and these are the changes, and this is specific to a routing. So if I go into the details of this particular the change indicator, it says that the record has been created, and here you can see that it says that the record has been deleted. And here in the reporting of the same way, if you look at the reporting option for all these options, so let's say I choose the bill of material. So here in the log, I can see that. I'll just expand this. And here you can see what was added and what was deleted. So the item 10, which has this particular change document, it was initially created on this particular date, and then as you can see, the new value shows what change was done on these objects. So here you can see the item 10, which was valid from 25/6/2025, that has been replaced now with a new value of 15/8/2026 using this particular change number on this particular date by this user, and what was changed. So here we change the component quantity, right? So we change the component quantity from 1 to 2. The same way, we have also deleted the item number 40, and you can see that the change is also recorded here, which means that this item has been deleted by this particular user on this particular date, right? So this is how the changes made by using a change number can be recorded at the master data level. So now there might be a requirement in a specific case where you would like to change the validity of this particular change master. So how can you do that? So let's go to the change mode of this, and then here you have this option to this particular icon to shift the date. So select this date and then choose a new date. So let's say I'll choose 18th of August, copy, and then save this. So now I go to the bill of material using the change number, and here you can see that the new changed date has been applied automatically, which is derived from the change number. So you can see it has been changed from 15th of August to 18th of August. So the same way you also can use this change number while modifying a routing. So here we assign the change number, which means that this change that we are going to do at the routing level will be applicable from 18th of August. So going to this routing, make any changes. So let's say I'll make it as 10 and then save it. So these changes will now be recorded back into the change number. So let's say again there might be a situation or maybe a requirement where you would like to lock the specific change number for any further usage, right? So we go to this transaction CC02, go to the change number, and here go to the object types, and then I'm going to lock it. Save this change. So now I have logged the usage of this change number into the bill of material, right? So I'll go into CS02, assign the change number. So now you can see that this particular change number will not allow you to make any changes to this particular bill of material. But if I go into the change of the routing, it will allow me. Why? Because I have not set the log indicator at the routing level, right? So see, I can go into the change mode and make the change, right? So that is how the change number basically works. So that's how the change number basically works, and also it helps us in regulating the changes on crucial master data related to production planning or any other business areas. So thank you for watching. Thanks for your time. So let's connect again in our next video. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, take care. Bye bye.